Sanbonan Dumalang, hello, it's Simply Spissa here and welcome back to my channel, but also a special welcome to you for listening to the audio podcast, Simply Do the Work. And if you're joining me for the first time and you're not yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So, before I get into today's matter of discussion, just want to get some admin, housekeeping out of the way, formalities, and first thing, I want to say thank you. Ooh, sorry, bumped the microphone there. I'm a little excited. Thank you to all the people who've recently subscribed to my channel, to people who've been subscribed since day one or whenever you join me. I recently surpassed 300 subscribers and I didn't really acknowledge it, which is kind of just like, I'm acknowledging it now. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me, especially those who've been with me throughout this journey for the past 2 to 3 years. You know, I think we've been through so many changes, so many different video ideas, video types, but what has remained consistent is me, you know, and I really do feel like there are people who've just bought into, you know, the idea, the vision that I'm trying to, you know, put out there in the world with this channel. So thank you. And also thank you to the loyal podcast listeners. Like, looking at the numbers, I didn't expect them to be so consistent in terms of it. With each episode, it's more or less like the same number. So it means the same people are coming back. And, you know, I really do appreciate those of you who are sharing. And it really means a lot to me. And while we're on the topic of the podcast, I'm actually, you know, thinking and working, how can I, into my schedule, start making like podcast exclusive episodes? Because also one of the reasons why I wanted to make a podcast was to be able to speak. I feel like, you know, on YouTube and just the way YouTube is set up, there's there's like a limitation to what you can speak on or how openly you can speak on that, whereas I feel like a podcast takes away that restriction. Not to say I'm going to be speaking all types of random mess, but, you know, I do want to, you know, do a little more there. You know, that's something that, you know, I'm still figuring out. But that being said, now that we've got all that rambling out of the way, what are we going to discuss today? So I still don't know what I'm going to title this video / episode, but basically what I want to talk about is just how humor and jokes and, you know, just comedy isn't apolitical. You know, how jokes actually do have real implications, and just basically exploring all that and everything that comes with it. So yes, before I get into, oh my gosh, this is probably the longest intro in the history of my intros, I do want to send a special shout out to my friend Fortunate, because without her this video would not exist, literally. So that being said, if you guys do have any video recommendations or suggestions, feel free to reach out to me either in the comment section or you know, DM me at Simply Spissa on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, I mean, if you got me on WhatsApp, just text me. You know, if you have my numbers, just hit me up. Don't be scared. Anyways, another thing that brought me here, right? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Can't remember. I was having an argument. I don't even want to say it was an argument. Let's just say it was a conversation with a friend, because it wasn't that deep. It was a conversation. We just had differing views on a joke. Now, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties of the joke, but it's basically a light-skinned man, right? He posted a picture where he was like semi-nude, and someone's like, you should go to church, you know. And then they posted like a meme of his face put on a black woman's body. And so I was saying that this meme is a little problematic because it's feminizing a light-skinned man, and that same, you know, colorism that negatively affects dark-skinned black women, you know, and has them seen as masculine or unattractive, it's like on men it's kind of flipped, because then light-skinned men are seen as, you know, these really beautiful, and they're seen as less masculine, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I'm doing a terrible job at explaining what I'm trying to say. But then, yeah, so I was saying that, and they were like, oh, you just made it political, it wasn't even like that. I was just saying, no, I didn't make it political. I literally just took what I saw, and they argued that I'm so sorry. They argued that even if it was a dark skinned black man, they would have still put their body on like a black woman's body, and it would have like they're basically saying, okay, now I'm actually I have to explain the joke. Like I tried to do it quick, fast, in a hurry, but now it's not making sense. I just have to fully dive in. So get comfortable. I feel like we're gonna be here for a while. So right, basically, right, the joke wasn't. They were saying the joke wasn't feminizing him, because they put him on like basically it was a woman wearing church clothes. Right, say the joke was, go to church, so put on church clothes. But my argument is, why didn't they put men's clothes on him? Even though the punchline wasn't, oh, it's a woman. But I'm like, you can't deny that the implications are different. I feel like if it was a dark-skinned black man being feminized and this light-skinned black man, the implications are different. Even though both might generate laughs, the way I see it is that, just the subliminal messaging behind the two is not the same. And, maybe I'm reaching, maybe I am reaching, because at the end of the day, sometimes I do think that we've become desensitized. Certain things have become normalized. And so I might come across as being oversensitive because you've been desensitized from that thing. But at the same time, I don't really want to be policing people. I don't want to be like militant about what can we and can we not laugh at. So I think that's what I mean. These conversations, it's not like my objective isn't to shame anyone for laughing at things, or it isn't to shame anyone from thinking a certain way, but it's to basically sit back and critically think about what is being presented to us. I think that is the thing. Sometimes a joke is presented to us and we don't actually think, what does this actually mean, And also when people say you're reaching, for me, sometimes the reason why I get defensive, it's like, I don't know, when you say I'm reaching, for me, it sounds like you're saying I sat down and I was just like trying to grasp at straws, trying to nitpick. Because the thing is, for me, it was an immediate response. Literally, when I looked at the picture, I just saw, oh, here is a light-skinned black man being feminized as a black woman, or being reduced to a black woman. And I feel like that statement that I just said is problematic in its own right. Moving on. And so I think for me, because I consume a lot of socially aware content, because I'm always reading books on these different topics, because I'm like, even the YouTubers I watch tackle these topics, I think my brain has sort of like rewired so that for me it's literally almost like a reflex. Like I look at something and immediately I see the mess. And this isn't to say that now we need to ban all problematic content and only consume unproblematic mess, because girl, I'm being a mess right now. Oh, let's just breathe, child. The coffee that I had before filming this is doing the most to me, because like I feel like my mind is going at like 1,000,000 miles a minute and my mouth just cannot catch up. Basically, there is no such thing as unproblematic content, okay? That is just the fact, point blank, period. If you wanna get away from problematic mess, if you don't want to see anything problematic from TV, whether it's TV, music, memes, social media, then you need to live in a cave. That is just the truth, because there is mess in everything, okay? Even I myself, I'm messy. I admit that I'm messy. I have been messy, but and this is like something at this point, I feel like I'm a broken record because I say it all the time. I just want people to do better. That's all we can ask, for everyone to do better. Like I might be messy, but I'm not as messy as I was a year ago, even like 6 months ago, because I'm doing better. And I think that's why I always whenever I come to film these, when I'm talking to people, my intention is never to come from a place of moral superiority, because I know I'm not above the mess. I am part of the mess. I recognize how I feed into the mess. And I think this really brings us on to the next point. And this is something that Fortunate brought to my attention. This is something that, this is where Fortunate is getting her dues, because she texted me and she was talking about how celebrities like Lasizwe, how their content is actually harmful and how it contributes to the oppression of Black women. Now, before I speak further on this, let me just say that I do not hate Lasizwe. I actually, I actually like Lasizwe, contrary to what, I don't know, you might think. I actually like Lasizwe. I actually want him to win. I literally gain nothing from seeing his career fall, which I do not want. If you want someone's career to end, or if you get some type of joy from someone's career ending, or someone, being cancelled, then I think you need to do some self-evaluation, because I recognize, he's still getting paid, whether I like what he's doing or he's getting paid. I do also feel like Lasizwe does get a lot of unwarranted hate. I do sometimes, the things people be saying on Twitter, I'm just like, okay, y'all, get a job. When there's mess, let's point out the mess. But there are people who do be reaching that we need to have that conversation. There are people who do be reaching, who do be nitpicking everything, but that's not what we're talking about today. And so let's just dive into the problematic nature of Lasizwe's content, of the skits he makes. Number one, right off the bat, is he's perpetuating stereotypes of Black women. Now, what are the stereotypes can't speak English. What are the stereotypes he's perpetuating? That they're loud, uneducated, unsophisticated, materialistic, just to name a few, and I'm only using him as an example because he's the most prominent right now. He's, the most well-known, but he's not the only one, okay? He's literally just an example, but, because at the end of the day, like I always say, the issues that I discuss go bigger than the individuals, and we also have to take into account that Lasizwe is a cisgender gay man, So obviously, because of his sexuality, he has experienced oppression, which we will not, not negating that. But it's sort of that thing of, because you've been oppressed, now you sort of putting down others to elevate yourself, and I think that is the issue with the content that he's making. Because even though it's not whether or not it's his intention, I'm not here to debate on anyone's intentions. I can't see your intentions. I cannot, you can tell me you didn't mean to cause harm, you didn't mean to, and it's kind of like, okay, cool, but let's look at what's actually happening. And you can see this also by just the people who consume the content, just by the comments that they make, or the people that engage with him on social media. That's sort of where you can see that, yeah, there might be an issue here, because it reinforces the false representations that, justify the oppression of Black women, because here we see an intersection of racism and sexism. Because in contrast to white womanhood isn't seen as unattractive. It isn't seen as manipulative. White women aren't seen as, strong women who can defend themselves. White women are seen as these delicate, and I'm using delicate in, what are these? Inverted commas with air quotes, because delicate is quite a triggering word when it comes to topics on sexism or femininity, and femininity is its own monster that can be unpacked. And at the end of the day, I think what I would like, is that people like Lasizwe, because I do, no one wants to see Black queers shining and thriving more than me, okay? And that is why I do say I actually do like Narciso, because he is occupying a lot of space. He's getting a lot of visibility. He's got a very large platform, and I think that's also why, like, people who are calling this out, I believe most of them, their intention isn't harm. Their intention is, hey, look, you can do better, not only for yourself, but even for your community. Just represent yourself. Let Black women represent themselves. I feel like that's what needs to happen. He is occupying that space as a Black cisgender gay man, and that is good. Power to him. Let him occupy that space in that identity, fully expressing that identity and whatever it means for him. Because I feel like also at the end of the day, we need to recognize that he is an individual, and he shouldn't be expected to carry the burden and weight of the entire Black community or of the entire LGBTQ plus community, right? But also allow Black women to come and also represent themselves in their true identities. Let the individuality of Black women be expressed. Because, for example, and this is also like a big topic in, like, feminist rhetoric, because it's kind of like there is this ideal woman, this ideal, these representation, these stereotypes that society has, and there are people who meet that, right? And so we aren't attacking those people. But the issue is the way our society is set up, the way the system works, is that if you do not fit into this mold, then the system's against you, And I also feel like I just wonder because obviously when Narciso is doing these characters, he's putting on a costume, right? What happens to the Black woman who really is that character, Oh, excuse me. To the Black woman who really, whose English isn't good because they didn't get a good education, What happens to her in real life? How is she treated, Don't these skits sort of reinforce the idea that it's okay for society to shit on her? Because at the end of the day, I think the issue is, like, what we're fighting, right, is that you shouldn't care for, I feel like our society is built in a way where we only care for Black women or like marginalized communities. We only care for them if they're in specific, unless they meet a certain list of requirements, It's kind of like their humanity is like the lost act. Literally, basically, it's that thing of detaching their humanity and trapping them in their bodies. But anyways, another thing that I actually wanted to discuss, because I feel like I could go on and on Narciso, right? And the issue of self-deprecating humor, right? Because now, cool, right? Here we've got with Narciso, we've got an instance when someone from a marginalized community, right, has a platform and they use their platform to sort of, make fun of others, right? But what happens if you are making fun of yourself? What was I watching, girl? It was like a Thai TV series, a Thai series. Let's say it's a Thai series. So I watched it on YouTube legally. Okay, they put it on the YouTube channel. A Thai series, and there were these two transgender women who were on the show, and they kept making jokes about themselves, referring to themselves as men. And I'll be honest, I was cringing at those jokes. I did not find them funny at all. And it kind of, obviously now I don't know them personally, and also because it was Thai, it's also the whole issue of like cultural context, because I feel like it does play a role in terms of, just what is socially acceptable or not, and I feel like the first question I ask myself is, who was that joke for, right? Because I think someone who is queer, when they hear that joke, or someone who is empathetic to the struggles of queer people, especially, the transgender community of gender non-conforming, that kind of joke can be triggering, it can be harmful, you know. I think also first have to understand what is the purpose of self-deprecating humor. You know, obviously for some people, self-deprecating humor is a way of masking insecurity. You know, you sort of say, I won't let them make fun of me for this. So I'll call it out first so they can't call it out, you know. But for others, it can be a sense of, you know, once you've overcome it, you've transcended the shame that comes with whatever people used to call you, and now you sort of, you know, you're reclaiming it, you know, there's that element too. But I do think it becomes, you have to ask yourself, is that thing of and this is why they say like self-deprecating humor has, it's dangerous, especially if you're in like a marginalized group, because now when people are laughing at this joke, right, are they laughing with you or at you? Because I think also this is why I asked the question, who was the joke for? Because if that joke falls on the ears of bigots, they take that as, oh, you see, even she calls herself this, so I'm okay to use it, you know. Whereas I think we all do recognize how, you know, there's that thing of, there's certain things that, you know, I can say about myself, like, that you can't. Like, for example, I could make fun of my sister till the sun goes down, but as soon as you say something, it's like, hold up, what are you doing, you know? And I think these are just all just like questions that we need to ask ourselves, because I do feel like sometimes, especially if you're in a marginalized group, once you have a platform and maybe, you know, you're in the field of comedy, there's sort of this thing of you downplay your trauma, you know, you sensationalize it, or you package it in a way that it's sort of to make people comfortable, you know. That's why I was even like, again, it goes back to the question of who was the joke for, you know. Was this joke to, you know, as, you know, for the trans community, sort of been like, this is what people say about us, but we're not gonna let it get us down? Or was it a way to sort of, the people who are uncomfortable with, you know, with gender non-conforming people, was it to make them comfortable? Just sort of be like, don't worry, I know that I make you feel uncomfortable, or I know that, or it's kind of like, no, it's that thing of biological woman, you know, like that whole debate, how you get, you know, cisgendered women who are transphobic in the name of, we're biological women and you guys are infringing on us. And it's just like, no, okay, trans women are not bothering no one, okay, they just want to live, you know. At the end of the day, I feel like at the end of the day, right, everyone just wants to live. And bringing it back to a quote a friend of mine told me is that, do not disguise your insults as jokes, you know. At the end of the day, I think we do have to sit down and have these conversations about humor and what do we find funny, because at the end of the day, it's political, okay? If you didn't understand a word I just said, because I feel like I was all over the place as usual, just remember this, everything is political. There's no such thing as an apolitical joke. And when I mean political, I obviously don't mean like government stuff, but I mean colorism, racism, sexism, homophobia, all of these things, or any ism that you can think of, because that is basically our society. You know, also if you just understand how humor works and how jokes work, and how, you know, also I do take into account that obviously these individuals have their own individual stories, which I may never fully know or understand, and that is, you know, for them. You know, I'm not here to attack anyone, police anyone, but I do want us to, you know, have these conversations and just start quickly thinking about the things we say, the content we consume, and how it affects people, and also how it affects us. Because at the end of the day, I feel like if you are constantly feeding into, like if you constantly consume problematic content, it is most likely going to affect your thinking, you know. And, you know, and by consume, I mean just passively consume. I feel like that's the thing. We live in a society where, because we have so much information, we have so many series to watch, so many YouTube videos out there, that sometimes we just passively consume things without even thinking, what actually am I taking in? You know, we see, oh my gosh, everyone's watching the show, let me check it out, or everyone's listening to this artist, let me listen to them, and not actually seeing what messaging are we consuming, you know, because there's this thing of, you know, you determine your environment, but your environment also determines you at the same time, you know. So as if you see that, okay, you know what, something ain't clicking, something ain't right, then take the steps and do better. Do better. Okay? Do better. That being said, thank you so much for watching or listening. I hope you were able to follow through with my mess. Once again, like, this is also kind of why I'm sometimes shook when I see like positive comment or I see people returning. It's like, okay, so I'm actually making sense. Okay, good to know. Thank you. I do appreciate that. So please do let me know in the comment section, or what are your thoughts, suggestions or recommendations, or, you know, reach me out to social media on my various platforms, links in the description. And yeah, on that note, thank you so much for watching or listening. I love you guys so much. Till we meet again in the next one. Bye guys.